Hello and welcome to the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. I did a video yesterday and I said it was going to be part one because I wanted to deal with more than one thing and it just seemed fitting to do them in separate videos. The video I'm speaking of is the video where Lexie Hull was on Locked On Women's Basketball. And she talked about Stephanie White in the segment I showed. And so I talked to you about how she felt Stephanie was good for the team, how she was going to make her more dynamic, etc. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the double standard that I think is really obvious to most of us who are paying attention, but is something that needs to be pointed out. The Caitlin Clark double standard. But first, if you have not subscribed to the Adrienne Ross Show, please do that. Hit the subscribe button. Always like, share, comment respectfully. And also, if you are not aware, there is a second channel. It's called Adrienne Ross Squared, squaring off from A to Z. I'm approaching 800 subscribers on that new channel. And either tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about why I don't celebrate Kwanzaa. Okay? Don't celebrate Kwanzaa. I'm going to get into why. So subscribe over there and turn your notifications on and look for that video coming again either tonight or tomorrow or Sunday. Okay, so now let's get into Lexie Hull on Locked On Women's Basketball and the double standard. So I'll play some and then I'll stop and I'll talk to you a little bit about what I noticed here.
It's a really big deal. And that's where I'd love to close is just, I know you take seriously extending the ladder down. It's something that you've talked about. It's something that you've done.
Okay, I want to stop here for a moment because I want to make sure you did not miss what he said. He asked her about extending a ladder down. That means being able to uplift and encourage those who are yet to come in this field, in this sport. And he says, you've talked about it before, extending a ladder down. Okay, I want to make sure we understand what he's asking her. And then let's continue. And I'm going to show you the double standard.
When you advise younger players who are coming up through the system now, number one, do you feel better about advising them to stick with it, knowing that there's a system that is growing here that's allowing people, like you said, to not have to question whether there's a pro future? And again, I just as an aside, I'm an old, so I've done this a long time. People at your level of professionalism should not have had to wonder that, but so many players did. Is that conversation different for you now when you talk to younger players?
Again, he's asking about extending the ladder down, about those players who have not come up yet, players that you can reach down and lift up. That's the conversation. That's the question, as it should be. Lexie Hull is not the only person who gets that question about being a role model for other people yet to come. That's where I see the double standard. Please tell me, why is it that when Caitlin Clark is asked about uplifting, when the conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark concerning being somehow a person who just elevates other people, why is it that for her, the standard, the expectation is not to extend a ladder down? Caitlin Clark seems to be the only one who's expected to extend a ladder up, right? Most people, when they find success somewhere, whether it's sports, whether it's business, where it is, they talk about being a role model and an example, extending the ladder down. to be someone that other people can look up to be someone who reaches down and pulls other people up. So you want them to know you can do it too. Caitlin Clark, however, is expected to be the person to extend the ladder up, to somehow uplift the people they tell us are already uplifted. The people they tell us have achieved so much, have built so much, are responsible for where you are. But you, Caitlin Clark, you don't just get to extend the ladder down. We expect you to extend the ladder up to the people who supposedly are already up there. So they keep telling us. But not only that, Caitlin is expected to extend the ladder out as well. So she's the only one I know who is, okay, extend the ladder down, but make sure mostly you say about the ones who came before and make sure you know they're Black, and then extend the ladder out to the people in the league right now who are feeling jealous and feeling insecure and want to let you know we've been here, we've been grinding it out, we've been holding it down, it's me too, and all of those things. Caitlin Clark is asked to do it all. Her ladder must go in every single direction. Lexie Hull, you have no such expectation about you making sure you say this name, make sure you say that name, make sure you say this name and that name. No, Lexie Hull, like most people, are asked the question that really should be asked. And that is, wow, how is it that the excitement about building other people up and being a role model and all that, that's what we usually want to do. But not Caitlin Clark. They treat her differently. The double standard. It's glaring, and it just jumped out at me when I heard his question. Okay, so let's talk about what she says, and then I want to get into something else. But you see what I'm saying, right? If you see what I'm saying, all right, put it in the comments. Tell me what your thought is about that. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, just my childhood versus girls' childhood now, and the accessibility to get to watch games. I didn't watch the WNBA growing up. So for me, I don't think it was ever like a vision I had. I didn't have a role model to chase. And now being that role model for young girls.
I want to stop right here because did you hear what she said? She said, I didn't watch the WNBA growing up. I didn't watch. And I find that fascinating. I wonder why or why not. I mean, she was too young, probably, at the earliest days. She was too young at the earliest of days. But when she was of age, what was it about the WNBA that didn't draw a person like Lexie Hull, who is now playing professional basketball? And she says, I didn't watch. Why didn't you watch? I mean, the early days, I would have been like, oh, Lexie, you would have loved to watch Cynthia Cooper play. But she did not watch when she was of age. But yet we're constantly told that Caitlin has to extend the ladder up because she has to constantly give the shout outs to the certain people who are up here already. Lexie Hull just said, I didn't watch you guys. The league was there. It's interesting. Let's keep going.
I didn't watch the WNBA growing up. So for me, I don't think it was ever like a vision I had. I didn't have a role model to chase. And now being that role model for young girls and getting to inspire them and say, it's possible for you. It's so exciting. And then
she said, I didn't have a role model to chase because I wasn't watching them. I know they want us to believe that everybody was always watching, and there were always people watching. In fact, I was when I came back to the WNBA, even before I came back, when I would hear people talk to the WNBA, talk about the WNBA, they were like, nobody's watching. And I used to get so annoyed because I'm like, what do you mean nobody's watching? You're not watching. People are watching. But I didn't realize then when I was watching back in the day, I didn't realize that there wasn't like a whole lot of people watching. Like they mean nobody. They mean nobody's watching. Like the masses are not watching is what they meant, and I didn't get it. But here's Lexie Hull. She's saying I wasn't watching. I didn't have the role models. So maybe that's the answer to stopping some of the constant extend the ladder up and out, Caitlin. Maybe the answer would have been, if she had never watched the WNBA, maybe they would leave her alone and she wouldn't be expected to carry the whole league and always extend the ladder up when real, people who want to build something, yeah, you acknowledge the people who came before. I always acknowledge Cynthia Cooper back in the day, the Houston Comets, etc. But the way they obsess over it, rather than saying, let's lift up, let's extend that ladder down and lift up. And Lexie Hull is like, that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing, because I can't point to this person and say that's the reason I'm in the league today. Maybe if that were Caitlin, they'd back off a little bit and not expect her to do it all for them, to do all for them what they are telling us was already done. The irony, right?
To that, there's also, I can't imagine what the WNBA is going to look like in 5 years, let alone it's growing teams after teams. We're expanding the size. More and more players get to play. There's more opportunity for people. So I'm just so excited for the growth, and so excited for what these kids in middle school and even high school, what the opportunities will be like once they graduate college. And yeah, so it's just great that they get to see us so that they can be us 5 to 10 years from now.
She hit the nail on the head at the end there. She talked about the middle schoolers, talked about the young folk, and how exciting it is that they can look at us, they can see us, so they can be us. That's what it's all about. And that's what you see Caitlin Clark and other players doing, most notably Caitlin Clark, of course, but that's what you see players doing. They spend time after games, before games, they're signing autographs, they're making the sacrifice. And it's not just Caitlin, but again, she's the most obvious one because she brings so many eyeballs. But every time every player says, yeah, what can I do? Whether it's a foundation that they have, whether it's a camp that they participate in or hold, whether it's an autograph they sign or a speech they give to lift up other people. That's what it's about. And I'm not saying that the older people aren't important. I told you I was in my 30s and, well, late 20s when I decided to go to a WNBA fantasy camp. And I was so inspired by Cynthia Cooper to be an even better player, to try to make it, like, get an opportunity to get a tryout, etc. So I'm not downplaying the older people, but I am saying that you got it right when your focus is on how should we be role models for those to come up, and stop asking questions about how can you stroke our ego and extend the ladder to us. Something's wrong if you're up here and you expect me to constantly extend the ladder to you. You've had a chance to climb the ladder, and to a certain extent, you have done that. So now back off, chill out, stroke your own ego. Yes, we acknowledge you. Yes, we know what you've done, and the players here. Yes, we respect you, but I got to turn my focus on doing what this man asked of Lexie Hull about extending a ladder down. But the double standard is that Caitlin Clark is expected to extend it up, extend it down, and extend it out. And man, it's for someone who supposedly isn't all of that, like some people try to make us believe, sure are expecting a lot from her. It's a double standard. I just found it fascinating. It jumped out at me because Caitlin doesn't just get those questions. She gets the do it all for everybody and how you're going to make it happen questions. Love to hear your thoughts. Chop it up in the comments. Again, if you've not subscribed to the channel, do so. If you've not subscribed to Adrienne Ross Squared, do so. Turn your notifications on. Guys, I will catch you next time. And gals, God willing, God bless you abundantly.